We do have a quorum present. At this time, we're briefly going to go into closed session under section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. It is 12:42. We'll reconvene in open session. The special meeting of the Waco ISD Board of Trustees. We've been in closed session under section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. No action was taken. We'll move on to item 4. Discussion and possible action, canvass the votes from the May 5, 2018 trustees election. Ms. Davis?
Yes, sir.
Yes, the election for District 1, Place 1 was held on May 5th, and you have the results, and you have a copy of the tally in front of you. So there were 197 votes cast out of 8,058 registered voters for 2.44% of the voters voting. 128 early ballots were cast, 69 ballots on election day. Of those, 84 votes were cast for Ashley Womack, and 105 votes were cast for Norman J. Manning, for a total of 189 votes with 8 undervotes. The administration recommends approval of the order accepting the election results, electing Norman J. Manning to District 1, Place 1.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to...
Excuse me.
Mr. Manning.
Can I vote on this? Or should I abstain?
We only need 2, but I don't know.
You should abstain.
You should abstain.
Mm-hmm.
We got plenty of votes without you. So assuming folks vote yes.
My friend Mr. Dupree.
I have a quick question, Mr. President.
Yes. Dr. Nelson.
Ms. Davis, just for the good of the public, can you explain what an undervote is?
That somebody voted and didn't actually cast a vote for either of the candidates.
So they walked in.
There were other things.
Or they may have voted in the city council race, but they didn't vote in this race.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Seitz.
I move we approve the order accepting election returns in District 1, Place 1 of the school board trustee election as presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Second. All right. Anything else from the board? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And then Mr. Manning, you abstained, is that correct? Yes. All right. Motion carries by a vote of 4-0 with 1 abstention. We'll move on to report, unless you have something you want to say.
You're organizing.
All right.
You're organizing your swearing in and all that?
We'll
don't have
that.
to do that? Okay.
We'll get that done. Reports and discussion, upcoming presentations. Dr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is real important for the administrative team. We were actually having a meeting last week where we were discussing our district improvement plan, and what came up as part of that discussion was our district's definition of a vision, a mission. We're missing, the documents we have don't even have a vision on them. And so we need to do some work to tighten all that up. When I arrived here, I remember us having some conversations regarding strategic planning. And, we're at this point so deep into the work that we feel like everything we're doing is definitely tied to some type of plan, even if somebody can't point to me where it exists. So I just wanted to give a couple of presentations that are on our radar for 2 reasons. Number one, to encourage the board to guide us in the types of questions you'd like answered, the types of things you're looking for in these 11, what we call big rocks. Now, they're not all inclusive, and like, for example, district improvement plan's not on here, but I can assure you we're working on it every day. Summer school's not on here, but that's a big part of all of our time right now. So it's not a comprehensive list, but things like professional development, these are conversations we've had as a team of 8, and it's very technical work in trying to develop a comprehensive staff development plan. Things like literacy, We have some big plans that involve early childhood partners, McLennan County Community College partners. I mean, it's pre-K through adult plan, but there's pieces of it that we need to look into deeper. Wraparound services, we talk about this a lot, and we definitely are excited about the vision for that, but this board needs to kind of make sure that if there's any specific services, I'm thinking about the Cove, Boys and Girls Clubs, dropout prevention services, pregnancy-related services. All of these are aspects of our wraparound services that we just wanted to invite this board to know about ahead of time and see. These are meetings that we're hoping to do between now and September 1. And that's the other thing you would note is, not sure, but if we did just 2 or 3 of these each meeting, we're talking about probably 2 hours each meeting. So I'm fine with that, excited to engage in the work, but you'll see it moves real fast. Trustee Sykes, I don't mean to call you out or nothing, but you've mentioned to me specifically about this district's lack of attention to strategic planning, and I think that there's a place for that conversation, but for us as staff, it's in the midst of already doing the work. Ms. Davis, for example, she does the budget. Part of it is reviewing our core beliefs and our vision and our mission and making sure that's all directly tied to our district improvement plan. But, we also could invest in a whole separate process if that's what this board wanted us to go through in terms of developing a long-range plan. Mr. Carrera is already working on a multi-million-dollar capital improvement plan that really is designed for us to have a conversation with this board about how to spend taxpayer monies for the next 5 to 7 years in terms of capital outlay. For the record, not even talking about a bond or how we would pay for that. This is just internal, and be clear on that. But we're already having those conversations, and that's a 2-hour meeting with this board about how we decided which roofs we're going to fix first. Which chillers are we going to replace first and why, and the assessment plan that we came up with. So I won't read all of them to you, but there's some pretty serious conversations, and for us, this is definitely the real work as we get ready to start our next school year. Any comments or questions?
Dr. Nelson, in terms of guidance on the types of questions or information, I think just looking at your list, the student code of conduct, as long as what we receive is a redlined copy that shows changes from the prior year and those are highlighted, and obviously a lot of that's going to be driven by legislative changes typically as opposed to a significant local change. But if there is something y'all want to change with respect to conduct, just bring that to our attention, but we don't need to go through in detail the whole document. A number of the things that we're already doing, professional development, early childhood, ELL, I think, again, if the administration will just highlight new changes and what we're doing moving forward, I think that's sufficient. And I would contrast that with some of the new things, the wraparound services, the blended learning, some of those things that are really significant to your Super 7 or the transformation zone partnership. I think those would be some areas where a little extra focus and time would be spent talking about some of those things that are really going to become part of the dialogue moving forward that really haven't been in the past. So everybody can kind of get up to speed on what we're talking about on some of those new innovations and initiatives you're bringing to the district. But
No, we appreciate the guidance. I would say that's fine for everything except special ed. It's got so much change just in restructuring. But I think your structural changes there and the things you're doing in response to the TEA feedback, I think that's a significant report that needs to be carried forward. You're correct. Right.
And then the budget, what we've done typically, we don't spend a lot of time going through it line item by line item. We get the updates as it's being developed, and then there are 1 or 2 meetings where folks may have some detailed questions. And is everybody okay with the process we've done in the past in terms of budget development? I think we've, if we need more, if you want more input from the board, we're happy to do that, but we know we've got a great CFO, and I think we typically defer to her for a lot of the specificity and detail.
Well, and really for that, if I could respond quickly, I'm very confident in the process that's been used for the budget, especially prior to my arrival. What I'm talking about is the transformation zone as it pertains to the budget. So, we're being told that we're the fiscal agent, and so I'm just not sure how much of that goes to the board annually, quarterly. I'm not sure, but I just want to make sure this board is able to do what you're asked to do as a fiscal agent of this initiative, this collaboration. So, but yes, we're good. That's the kind of feedback we needed to hear.
Okay. Anybody else have any other thoughts on any of the reports?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Manning.
Cheryl, don't you yearly give us a capital improvement plan on how much money we got and what we got left to get done? If I remember correctly.
We used to do that. We have not done that as much in recent years. That kind of moved to maintenance, and I think they were giving you maybe a monthly update on capital improvements, but I don't think they really brought. We do have an additional request and a project that's part of the budget that we do incorporate into our budget, and I show you what projects we funded for the year. And yes, in that respect, we do have a small piece, but it's not a long-range plan.
Well, yeah, what I was thinking about, and when you said that, yeah, it's been a little while since we did that. I remember there was a presentation on like parking improvements and then some roofing improvements and some other minor improvements that used to be presented to us, and that hasn't been updated in a little while.
Right. What I have done from my standpoint is during budget development, I show you what projects, or sometimes even after the start of the year when we amend those in, but we show you what projects we're going to do for that year. But no, I don't think we've had a long-range plan in a while.
And I guess, Mr. Carrera, you working on that now, right, sir? Okay, all right.
Yeah, Dr. Manning.
Well, if I could add to that response from Ms. Davis, we definitely have capital improvement discussions as part of the budget process. So let me be clear on that. What I'm saying is that the long-range planning for capital outlay and technology, these are things that are changing. And if we're going to have a conversation about blended learning, then we also have to have a conversation about what our investment will be annually. So that's in addition to grant opportunities we're pursuing. So I just want to say it's moving way quicker than just the annual conversation that we have as part of the budget. This board would expect, if we were going to spend an additional $1 million on technology, then it needed to be rooted and grounded in some type of long-range plan, some type of sustainability plan. If we buy devices, we have to introduce those purchases along with a plan to sustain those devices, refresh them, move the broken and dilapidated ones out. And this is just one small piece of the blended learning plan. It's not even the main information. The main information is how we create equity and access to technology for our kids so that it can enhance their learning. So I understand what Trustee Manning is saying. I understand Ms. Davis's response, but you'll see when it's on here, that blended learning is about 6 hours of presentations. 2 is how are we going to fund all of these wonderful ideas. So.
Okay. Other questions or comments from the board? We'll look forward to receiving those reports. Mr. Sykes, I'm sorry.
So it looks like, so you're saying between now and the September meeting, we will be seeing these presentations and discussing content?
See, yes, well, that's the plan. I mean, what you'll see is as we get between now and September, this is just forecasting. This is not to mention items that the board requests or items, mandates that we're expected to bring to you. Or so you'll see. Your plate is going to be full with these. Having said that, I'm inviting. No, you're missing athletics and what we're doing. Well, athletics sounds like an annual report that the president just outlined, but You know, it just depends. I don't want you to, the vision and where we're headed, it's a shared model. It's not just us making the calls. We're just telling you, here's the basis of things we're bringing and inviting you to help us think about those things.
Follow up on what Mr. Sykes said. Just kind of thinking through the structure of the meetings throughout the calendar year. I know you've got a lot on your plate, particularly if the Transformation Zone partnership is approved in terms of creating an entire small school system in about 70 days. I know once we approve the budget and we get into the meetings early in the school year, September, October, November, those meetings in recent years have been very brief because all the planning is in place. And so if there's some of these that you want input on heading into 18-19, I would say let's have those this summer. But I'm also sensitive to everything staff is doing. And if some of these need to be heard in September, October, November in the fall semester, I think that would be fine in terms of if you're particularly if you're looking long range, because those meetings have been very brief in recent years, and we would have time to go into some of these issues in depth if you don't want to do it this summer.
Thank you for that flexibility.
Anything else from the board? Anything else from the administration?
No, sir.
Well, then at 12:55, we'll stand adjourned.